Hey everybody, this is Andrew from T is for Tech, and today what I'm going to be doing is doing an unboxing and initial review for this fitness tracker from a company called MorePro. And you can go to their website at morepro or more-pro.com. They also sell these devices on Amazon, right? So that's where I got it off Amazon. And this is a fairly highly rated device, at least from what I can tell, the general consensus on Amazon reviews. And it comes in at under $50, and it really competes with things like the Fitbit Charge series, right? It kind of looks like a Fitbit Charge, right? And I wanted to check it out because it has some features that the Fitbit Charge does not have, right? So it has ECG or EKG sort of thing, so the electrocardiogram. So if you want to track that, like on the newer Apple Watches, they have that feature, but I don't believe that feature is available on any of the Fitbit devices that I'm aware of. But then, so that's really actually kind of cool. So that coupled with it does blood pressure also. So we'll measure your blood pressure. It'll measure your heart rate. It'll measure your blood oxygen level, so your basically SpO2 level, and also can monitor for sleep apnea. So kind of interesting. Obviously, this is also can be used for activity tracking and steps and pedometer and all of that. Typical call notifications, messages, etc. And there's some extra features like using it to remotely trigger your camera. I'm assuming if it's only for Android, but anyways, lots of features, and we're going to take a look at this. First, in this portion of the video, basically just going to do the unboxing, kind of turn it on, take a look at it. And then I'll follow up on the computer. I'll kind of log into the app and do a screen recording of my phone with the app, and we can kind of look through some of the features there. And then I'll wear it for about a week and hopefully get some decent feedback on how the device performs, right? And have some stats and things we can look at in the app, like the actual results, right? So I have owned fitness bands before. I used to really like the Fitbit series of devices, still do. I've done some videos on the channel with the Fitbit Versa 2. I'm using the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active 2 right now, but I will be using this, right? So according to the listing, it's just called the MorePro e.c.g monitor watch. But anyways, so we'll take a look at it. Now, I mean, nothing fancy from the box perspective. Just a standard box. A little bit of information about user instructions, thanks for purchasing, how do you get to their support email, etc. And this gives you all of how to go through the main settings and whatnot. Now, what's kind of cool about this, as opposed to something like the Fitbit Charge, with the Fitbit Charge, you need to actually snap it into that little charger that comes with the Fitbit. I don't know if that's better or this is better, but this one actually, one of the connector ends for the watch band has two little prongs on there, and you can just plug it into a USB port on your computer and it will charge it that way. So I guess that's a little bit nicer from just don't have to have an extra charger with you. If you're taking this somewhere on a trip or work or whatever, and you can just plug it in to your computer or a USB connector and you're set. You don't have to remember the charger. I don't know how hard it is to get the band on and off of here. I mean, that would be the only thing I would be concerned is like constantly removing the band to charge. But then again, this supposedly has a really long battery life, so it shouldn't be an issue. Basically, this is the main part of the device. You got your sensors there, a couple different sensors for all the different monitoring that it has. I'm just going to take this off. Yeah, and this is it. I mean, this seems like it has a plastic screen, so I don't know how big of an issue that is. I know like the Fitbit devices have like a Gorilla Glass screen, but I got to turn the brightness up too because this is pretty low. But yeah, so feels fairly well built. It's all plastic. There's no metal. So that would be something a little bit nicer if this was actually aluminum or something, but it's plastic. It's water resistant. And you just get one size band with this. So this has like it's like a TPU kind of material. It's not as soft as something like the silicone bands that you would get on the Galaxy Watch Active or the Apple Watch. Those generally have a little bit more, I don't know, they just feel nicer. This is okay. Just feels like a regular kind of TPU rubbery kind of thing. So we'll just kind of connect that, connect that. Yeah, I mean, it goes on pretty easily, as you can see. I don't know how you best pull it off. Yeah, you just kind of got to pull on it. There's a little bit of a retention. You can see how this top has this like pointy tip and then some indentations, and that just kind of snaps into the band. Yeah, not too bad to take on and off. So the screen itself is not responsive. Like touching the screen doesn't do anything. You have to kind of touch this bottom silver button. This is what has the, and it just basically cycles through everything. And then you long press it to select. So I will have to connect this to the app and see if I can increase the brightness, because it's a little dim, but I have these bright lights on. And the screen right now has, I don't know if you can see it, it has kind of a little bit of a sheen to it. Kind of looks, I don't know if that was from the plastic that was stuck on there. So we'll see if that goes away. Looks like it might. It's like some residue of something. So let me just put it on real quick. So I have pretty big wrists, and this is pretty comfortable. It could definitely go larger. I mean, they give you one band, so if you had really small wrists, I don't know if this would be then too long. So that's one thing to consider, but there's plenty of holes here, and I'm kind of in about the middle, and I have obviously some pretty big hands and wrists. So, but yeah, to me it feels very much like the Fitbit Charge devices that I've had in the past. Maybe a little bit taller. I want to say it feels like it looks like it's a little bit taller than the Fitbits. I don't have one with me currently to compare, but so that might be one thing. But you know, not too big, not too small, comfortable to wear. This, you know, it's very responsive, flipping from screen to screen by touching this little bar, whatever you want to call this button, touch sensitive button. But what I'm going to do now is just take a look at this a little bit more. I'm going to connect it to the app and then wear it for a few days to a week maybe, kind of play around with all the different functions. And then I will, finish the remaining portion of this video with maybe the screen recording of the app, as well as, my thoughts and whatnot. So yeah, so next thing I'll have to do is just download this app. It's called the MorePro app. And again, like the basic operations, using that touch button to switch through, like I was saying, there's like the main watch page or the main watch screen, which would give you your time and all of your different watch information. And then you have steps, sleep, blood oxygen, ECG, the different mode for running, I guess. Might be the exercise mode. Your heart rate, blood pressure. You can locate your cell phone as well, or turn it off. And then there's other things, reminders for, if you're sitting at your desk too long, sedentary reminder, alarm clock, events, if you reach your daily step goal, those sorts of things. So really, all of the same sort of things you would get on a Fitbit watch or a Fitbit's band. This is water resistant. It's not waterproof. So if you get it splashed or whatnot, or if you're sweaty and all of that, it's fine. But it's basically saying you can do it in shallow water, but don't use it when you're taking a shower, diving, surfing, those sorts of things. It has a 130 milliamp hour battery, a TFT screen. It says there's 4 days of battery life, and it's IP68 water resistant. So yeah, overall, I mean, this is feels like a decent device. So like I said, I'll be using this over the next week or so, and I'll follow up with the remaining video, but jumping over to the computer. So I realized that you couldn't see the screen when I had the big camera and the lights on. So here I'm just tapping through to show the different menu options on the band, and just want to show this quickly before I jumped on to the rest of the video. Hey everybody, this is Andrew again. I'm just kind of finishing up this review of the MorePro fitness band. Now, I have been using this for about 4 days, and I think I was going to use it a little bit longer, but I've got enough usage under my belt to have some formed opinions on how this works, and just want to kind of review those quickly here and kind of finish this up. So once you pair the device to your phone, so this is paired to my Samsung S20 Ultra, and you install the MorePro app, which looks like this, MorePro, you'll see the device that shows up, right? And basically shows this little icon, looks like a chain link or something like that, and it says have paired. So you can go into the device then and change some of the settings and whatnot. Check the firmware, right? So you can do firmware update, you can clear the device data, you can do a bunch of different stuff. There's a private blood pressure mode if you don't want that to be like visible or shareable in the app. If you want to keep that like more private, I guess, as medical data or whatnot. And then there's some different settings, right? So if you want to have automatic heart rate detection, blood pressure detection, test your oxygen at night, to turn on the scientific sleep mode and or low consumption mode. Now, I think what I don't 100% know yet, and I'm assuming is the case, is if you turn off some of these things like the automatic detection, you might get a little bit better battery life. I've been getting about 2 days or so, 2.5 days of the battery when I have all these settings switched on, because I want the data. I don't want to have to keep, purposefully checking my heart rate or the blood pressure and that. I just want the kind of constant, continual measurement happening. So that's why I left these all on. So I do think it may reduce the battery life just a tad, because I've read some other reviews where people are getting 4 or 5 days of battery life on this, and I think they may have some of these settings turned off. But it is what it is, I guess. The other things you can do here, there's alarm clocks. So you can set up alarm clocks where the device will buzz on your wrist. You can set up events. So if you have specific things you want to remind yourself of, you can do that. And the only problem with this is you can only do it within the app. So you can't really set an alarm on the watch itself or the fitness band itself. You can't do the reminders. You can't do timer, stopwatch, any of that on the device. You have to actually go into this tools menu to do some of that, which is, it's a little bit kind of annoying if you really want to use these features. You can't use them on the device itself. Some of the other watches like the Fitbit Versa 2, and I'm not really sure about the Charge. I can't remember because I don't have that device anymore. You may have been able to do more on the device without using the app than this one. So something to keep in mind. I did not test out the take a photo with your wrist. Apparently there's a way to do that and make your phone take a photo. I just don't use that or care about that, so I didn't really test it at all. But yeah, again, so there's some tools there. The display, this is the typical display light up by rotating wrist. So if you bring your wrist up to look at the time, the screen turns on, and that works fine. Multiple times a day I check the time. The brightness adjustment, I had it on default brightness, which is a little bit low. So you can turn it up to like a max brightness, but it really is not as bright as you would expect. So for me, I just left it on the default and it was a little dim, and it has been dim, and I played around with this a little bit, but again, this might affect the battery life. So since I had all those other sensors or the automatic detection turned on, I just turned the default brightness on just so I didn't doubly kind of suck up the battery with the brightness. So So you can do that. Brightness adjustment, lighted up screen duration sort of thing, right? Default is a few seconds, or you can say like 5 seconds, or if you want to stay on to 30 seconds. So that's if you're messing with it or you're looking at it, you know, how long does it stay on basically. And then there's a UI style. So there's only a few different watch faces that you can select. Basically 5. I've been using this last one just because it's the easiest to read at a glance because you get the big numbers. Also shows your heart rate, steps, and those sorts of things on there. So that one's good. You know, it would be nice if you could actually have custom faces or a little more variety, but you know, it is what it is. It gets the job done. This one's not too bad. And there's a way to lock the screen. And then you can also turn on your message notifications. So the only thing I had on was the call notification. So if I get a phone call, it buzzes, shows a little phone icon sort of thing. But you can do that for all sorts of other apps if you'd like. The heart rate scope, which is kind of like the upper bounds of, you know, the heart rate. Extreme would be this, you know, warm up would be that. That's one thing I have to say about this. I mean, the app is overall okay. I just wish that they would have somebody that speaks native English, like actually translate all this stuff so that it makes a little more sense. Because even reading some of these things just sounds a little goofy. Maybe not specifically this screen, but I'll show you. There's a few other areas of the app where I'm just like, I read it and I'm like, what? You know, what are you talking about? So there's that. You can also do sedentary reminders. So this is like if, you know, start time, end time. If you sit for an hour without moving, you know, it kind of buzzes you and say, hey, you should get up and stretch or move or whatever. I play with that a little bit. I do not have it on now because I've been sitting at my desk basically all day for the last, few days. And I just don't, I know that I need to get up and move, but I really haven't used that feature, but it does work. Right. So like I said, you know, quite a few things here you can actually change on the device, and, you know, it needs to be paired with your phone in order to make these changes. And then once you make the changes, they are kind of instantly reflected on the device. So long story short, you know, you get quite a few settings here. Looks nice, you know, a little bit of functionality that you can set up through there. So the other thing here is you have a couple main tabs in the app. So I was in this little, you know, I was in the device thing, so you can see that looks like a little fitness band. There's also settings for the app itself. So you can set up your personal information. You can get to the device this way. You can set goals, fitness goals, step goals, all of that. You can set your units, so imperial or metric units. By default, it comes out as metric, so I had to change that to imperial so I can deal with my height in feet and inches and my weight in pounds. You can change the theme of the app, and then there's some third-party access. You can a few different third-party apps you can connect to it and whatnot. But yeah, so here's some basic stuff here, and really there's like one main screen that will give you all your information. So this was the first day that I was wearing it, so I just kind of, and again, I didn't go really walking too much or anything like that. But you can see your steps, shows you against your goal how much you've achieved. So I think I set like 6,000 steps. So, right there, goal 6,000. I didn't really do anything. This was the first day I wore it, so there's no sleep. It started measuring my heart rate after I started putting it, I put it on. The one thing what did it do? Okay, it skipped. Yeah, so this was the first day. I don't know why I did that. So the heart rate I think is accurate. The blood pressure is, I'm not really sure how accurate it is. My blood pressure is a little high, so I'm usually like pushing high 130s over 85, 90, 90-ish. This thing has consistently been measuring the heart rate lower, so I don't think it's 100% accurate. And I tried this on my right hand. I tried it on my left hand just to see if it made a difference, and it didn't. So I'm not really quite sure, you know, how accurate the blood pressure is, or if it's just me or what. You have your heart rate variability data here, your blood oxygen level, and the ECG or EKG. Typically in the US, I've heard of it EKG, but they call it interchangeably ECG. And I did one test there. So you can see it started to get the data the first day I wore it. Now, the next time, the next day, so you'll get the sleep data from the night before, still your steps of that current day, heart rate, blood pressure, heart rate variability, your blood oxygen at nighttime, right? So this is I wore it over sleeping, so then it shows all that. And I did an ECG that day as well. Now, with each of these, you can actually click in and see more data, right? So you get into the view to say, okay, well, here's my steps. And you can show all the actual data or more statistical data, which would take you to like a trending sort of view. But basically, you can see the data here, and then you can flip between the days there, and then you can go steps, sleep, and all that stuff at the top. Or you can come back to this page, right? So lots of ways to get at the data within the app. So if you look at sleep, so here, said I had good quality sleep, total 7 hours and 21 minutes. Some stats around, deep sleep, light sleep, rapid eye movement. What's the proportions of the overall time, at any given, deep, light, or rapid eye movement. It gives you some more information here. Now, this is pretty accurate because I did wake up at around 6:30. I did fall asleep, 11 something. So, I guess it's right. I mean, it automatically tracked this. I didn't have to start anything on the band itself, so that's pretty good. As for these proportions, I don't know. If I wanted to check it, I probably could wear, a Fitbit at the same time and then compare the two or whatnot. But I just didn't do that. This to me probably seems probably right. Here, the heart rate. I think I took it off and charged it a little bit, and then I had an issue the second night where, for whatever reason, some of this was not actually working. I don't know why the data didn't show up. Yeah, not really sure. But basically, you can go into the heart rate. Again, you can see that data itself. Highest, lowest, average. Same thing with the blood pressure. You can see that. Heart rate variability. Heart index, hopefully it says I'm normal. Good, I guess. But I'm not going to die anytime soon. Here you can show your oxygen over, this was overnight, right? So you'd be able to see kind of that. And there's got a lot of information if you can detect how many times you have sleep apnea episodes, if you have that problem, if you're hypoxic, your average respiratory rate, cardiac load, sleep activity, amplitude, lots of different data. So if you're into like just understanding data about, your body and how you're sleeping or how you're performing, it seems to give a lot of stuff here. More so than I've seen from Samsung Health or Fitbit or, Apple Watch and that sort of thing. That seems like there's quite a bit of information that you can get at. So that, and then this ECG or EKG, I did a couple tests just to, at least one here, just to see what that resulted as. And then I ran into an issue. See, it keeps resetting these days. Yeah, I don't know what, that would have been the last day I was looking at, so that's why. Okay, I was on the wrong day. Sorry about that. The reason why there's no data passed here is because that's what time it is now. So I did charge it a little bit this morning, and now I'm at the current time. So anyways, that's today. This was last night. I don't know why it flipped me. I was basically saying that I had an issue going from the first full day into the second night or second day is where I woke up in the morning and the battery was dead. So it didn't record anything, and it didn't actually record the sleep the night before because the battery died, I'm assuming, sometime overnight. So I didn't get any sleep data, and then I charged it, and then I started getting, heart rate data when I put it back on at 8 o'clock in the morning. Same thing here. Didn't get any of this, because of the overnight issue, and I did not do a test that day. So I was running into an issue with the battery. I had everything turned on, and maybe I did not charge it all the way up the first day, so I had some problems there. So, but anyways, this would be then today. So again, I use it overnight. I charge it for a little bit this morning, and I put it back on. So as you can see, lots of data, lots of interesting information. The other thing here too, like if you click on any one of these, you can see different charts and charts and ways to view it. So you can see these like card view data. You can view it as graphs, right, as well, which is kind of cool. And then there's these information tabs. So you see lots of areas where you can click to get click and get more information. Now this is where I wish they would have done a little bit more, proofreading, or have somebody that speaks native English write this, or just spend some time and make it look better. Because like here, treatment 1, control weight, right? You see 1 period control. There's no space between that. Here's 2 spaces or 2 dots, 4 dot. Up here, there's things that are not capitalized. Just kind of like messy stuff that I wish, like, hey, you're building an app and I'm in software. It's my day job. Like, make it actually look polished and professional. Might go a long way to actually giving people some, feeling that this is well done, I guess, right? So here, same thing. You can start a blood oxygen test. I'll start it right now, because this is on my wrist. It should start. Should do the test. Yeah, okay. So 98%, which I think is pretty good. Yeah, so you can do that. But then, like I said, there's more information. You can click on these, all these little info tabs and things like that, and you can find more information. Same thing here. You can start the e.c.g. Maybe I'll do that real quick. Okay, fine. So as you can see, it obviously starts working. And here you're just holding your finger on the little silver part of the band, and then it does the measurements that way. So you can save that, and then it will show up. So yeah, overall, I think this gives you a lot of information for sure. And the amount of sensors that are on here are really great, for the price. This thing was under $50. You can, obviously track your sleep, your pedometer, your walking, and all of that. Heart rate, blood pressure, all that stuff is really, really quite well and quite good. And now I have not even really looked into the exercise portion of this yet. That I might do in a later review if I have some time. But basically, you can start exercising as well. So you can start a run, you can start, a bike ride, yoga, outdoor walks, all that sort of thing, and you can track that as well. Track your exercise data here. So like I said, I haven't really messed with that yet, but it is an option. I don't know if you can actually add or if there's additional exercises that you can use. Either it's just running on a treadmill, riding a bike, doing like yoga, walking, or high intensity training. It looks like that's all you can do within the application itself, or the band, right? So that's that. But yeah, I mean, overall, pretty good thoughts about this. The app seems pretty good. Like I said, there's some just minor cosmetic, textual, English syntax type things that's annoying to me. But you can get a lot of information from the band itself, and it does seem fairly accurate, minus the blood pressure, because I know that specifically is an issue with mine. But yeah, overall, I really do think that this is a pretty good device. And my overall thoughts are, yeah, I mean, if you're in the market for a fitness band, you don't want to spend, a bit more money for something like a Fitbit, and you want some basic information, a basic band that's comfortable, seems to have a lot of good features, you might want to try to check this one out. If you have any questions, go ahead and post those below. This is Andrew from T is for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.